Okay, and welcome back. We're picking up where we dropped off last time in Grand Tactician Civil War. This is the first battle of, I think, the 6th stream, where we're the defense. We have our Army of the Potomac, which is mainly our siege army, going against the Florida State Militia, which has come up here to try to drive it out of Norfolk. So let's play the battle. We are slightly outnumbered, but most of our troops are fairly well equipped. I think we have slightly higher veterancy than the opposition, though it's going to be pretty negligible. And most of our guys should be fairly ready for battle. And we have pretty much up-to-date equipment, so we'll see how well that fields against the Confederate troops. I suspect the Confederate troops do not have quite such high-quality weapons as we do. We're completely running across all our armies at this point some variation of rifle. This army is fully equipped with Springfields, whereas I do not know what the Confederates are going to be equipped with. Our scouts report the enemy is near Norfolk. Yeah, that's why we're engaging, and we are to prepare for battle. We are facing the Florida State Militia. I do have fog of war on, so these are estimates of 22,000 men and 38 guns. The enemy is green, and the morale is reported to be stable. The reports indicate their supply situation is outstanding, and ours is outstanding, which makes sense because neither side has fought. Okay, we got a decent number of marshes around here. And we're here to hold Welch's Road. And they're probably coming up. They're either going to come up that road, or they're going to come up the railroad track. I suspect they'll come up the road. So that actually gives us a fairly nice river position to hold. So we'll have Franklin take the army forward. We will detach the cavalry, so they don't move around as we move the entire army around. We'll probably place them covering the marsh initially. We'll also detach the artillery so they don't really move around. Ooh, the only problem we're running into here is the place we want to defend is pretty wooded. Just getting in the way of artillery arcs of fire, as you can see. Maybe we put the artillery over the swamp. We get a decent artillery arc fire off the swamp. Oh, I suppose I can put them in the swamp. That would probably work as well. Nope, that's still... maybe? I'm gonna say no. Yeah, this happens on some maps where you just get like, yeah, we want to use artillery, and then the map says, you might want to use it, but the map does not agree with you. Oh, I think that's the best firing arc we get. Yeah, that looks like a decent firing arc. Okay, so that is where we're going to put the artillery. We are supposed to be protecting this road junction here, but we'll probably pre-deploy the artillery between the lake and the marsh here. Which in theory I suppose puts it a little far forward, but we can work with that. Okay, so that's roughly going to be our defensive position. We'll see how well that works. I suppose one thing I could do is we do have enough to run up a little bit of a parapet. Yeah, I'm gonna run as it is. Okay, let's start the time moving. So we suspect the Confederates are probably coming from up here. They do have us outnumbered. Let's go ahead and order a army-wide shakeout of skirmishers. And we'll do some sort of delaying action on them coming up the road is kind of the plan I'm going with. Now, these skirmishers are probably going to rout against any real determined opposition. That's kind of what they're meant to do. They're meant to get a reasonable trade, and then withdraw. So I suspect the Confederates are probably coming from over here. Could be wrong, they could be coming from someplace else. That's where the reinforcements would be coming in, so I suspect they're coming from over there. And so this is one thing the game is not particularly great at. It's not very good at fog of war. You can hear sounds. This is the game not hiding the fact that the enemy is here. So we can hear the enemy. It does almost sound like they're going up the railroad tracks instead of up the road. So we'll see how well our forward deployed troops are going to be at actually blockading or delaying the unit. But yeah, we're on a defensive battle against the Confederates. Again, I think this is a battle we will win simply by the process that our equipment is better and we are in the defensive position. In fact, we're already expected to have a minor victory because apparently our troops have higher morale even without seeing the enemy yet. It's a good way to start a battle. The men assured a victory before they even see the enemy. Oh, apparently I missed one of the skirmisher groups. Let's send them forward as well. We might not send these guys as far forward. We'll send them, say, to here in case we are wrong and they're coming down the road, or coming down the railroad track. Oh, yeah, I think they're coming down the railroad track. I think I've ordered my skirmishers to the wrong location. Well, if they're coming down the railroad track, we'll do a slight detour to the railroad track, because we're actually closer to the railroad track location where we probably want to defend. Now, our main defensive position will hold both, so even if they come down the railroad track, that won't be too much of an issue. Worst case scenario, that'll be them trying to bypass the position instead of come front on, which we've done to the enemy, so that turnabout's fair play most times. Yes, so Twitch chat saying kill the rebels. Yeah, we'll hopefully kill the rebels. Our usual kill to death ratio has been something like 3 to 1, somewhere between 2 to 1 or 3 to 1. I suspect we'll be able to repeat that. Weapon at the ready, boys. Watch those flanks, Sergeant. Just waiting on the 6th one. Let's just go up and send it in the wrong place. Number 5. Where's number 6? Ask me. No, he didn't go down there. Oh, there he is. let's grab this guy over here in this bit of forest. Forest provides cover, but that's actually a little bit mutual. This is a early morning battle. You can see the forward units coming up. One of the enemy brigades is already wavering before the battle is even joined. This is not going to go well for the Confederates. But we do have a pretty reasonable defensive position for our skirmishers here. So we will layer the pain on them and then withdraw back to our units for replenishment. Probably actually get back out again and do one more engagement before they hit the main line. This is actually a pretty good place to shoot them up, because we'll be firing over open ground where they won't have cover. The second engagement won't be quite so lucky. And the main line won't be quite so lucky. Have the credit. The Confederates have probably spotted us, but the deployment order probably hasn't reached them. It's probably what's happened. They're still coming down the road. Well, I say road. Coming down the railroad. So there's 3 brigades. They probably got another, like, 3 brigades back there. Okay, yeah. I think the forward unit has noticed us and is beginning to deploy in line. I think this is a green army from Florida. Florida State Militia. Maybe not the most veteran of units. Though they have rallied in the meantime, so they're not completely paranoid about getting shot up. Though, apparently their capacity to get organized and attack is not the best. That's supposed to be a line. It's a bit more of a blob. There it goes, into line. There's the Confederate artillery and the Confederate cavalry. Okay, apparently I can't get an estimate on the cavalry strength. There we go. 550. Okay, so I think they have done brigades, the cavalry form. So that is probably actually... Well, that's probably a cavalry unit that's been reinforcing. That's probably one of the Game Start ones that hasn't seen combat, but was only regiment size to start. And we wait. Got good defensive positions with longer range weapons. So we want them to come to us, even if that means we have to sit under their artillery fire for a bit. Telfer's brigade is going to be the first to come. Rifled muskets open fire first, because the Confederates are probably... Oh no, those are probably Confederates with the rifles. They're opening fire from that range. The brigades probably have a greater rate of fire than our skirmishers, which is going to result in them probably routing after a fairly short period of time. But we're going to probably come off the better, because we're firing from defensive positions, and they're in the open. Almost rout enemy cavalry. We have routed the enemy cavalry. We'll see if it reorganizes and comes back, but it's going. Okay, first master skirmishers are falling back. Otherwise, the skirmishers are holding well. Almost certainly given better than they're taken. Looks like our second match is about to go. One of our units is reporting low ammo. It's going to be one of the skirmisher units. Isn't surprising. There goes the second one, falling back to its parent unit. Interesting. Wasn't expecting the line unit to go to lay down to reduce the incoming fire. There's a third one recruiting. So about half the skirmish line has withdrawn under enemy fire. That was the withdrawal for the first set of units. I think one of them's actually made it back. Not that one. Didn't keep the formation on the skirmishers, so I don't actually know which one came from which one. As you check, that one goes bit back. Send that one back out again. All that set up at this farmstead here to delay the advance. Another report of low ammo. Which isn't surprising, the skirmishers only have 20 rounds of ammo in their deployment. Fourth unit withdraws under enemy fire. So the fifth, so I soon expect the units, the last one to fall back. May be able to get into the secondary position, which isn't far behind the primary one by the time the enemy regroups. We'll see. Which one's yours? Yours, that one, okay. Yeah, these guys are going to be held much longer before they're going to run away and do low ammo anyway. But we definitely gave better than we took. Get the combat estimate popping up. We dealt about 650 casualties to about 183 of our own. Got 5 more volleys before they run at the low status and ammo. We're gonna have to withdraw anyway. But they are serving to delay the enemy from organizing back up before our second position gets set up, so we'll keep them there for the moment. I think it won't be my choice when they leave, I think it'll be their choice when they leave, so that'll be fine. There they go, they're routing. Just as our troops first batches get to their spots. Push fresh skirmishers up to delay them again. This defensive position will not be quite as good as the last one, I suspect. As some of the units that will be engaging us will be in cover, on the left flank at least. And we won't be engaging the full 6 batches of skirmishers versus the entire enemy army. As we'll probably only be able to get like 5 more, get the 5 into position. 6th will probably be arriving late. Though the enemy in their haste has exhausted a few of their units, so they're going to have a little bit of a morale issue from that. And again, I think we have routed the enemy cav. Oh, no, they've managed to rally the cav. Cav has not been driven from the field yet. Can I get to the rail before them? That's a good question. Rail embankment's a little bit of cover. There we go. It's kind of not facing the right way, ideally, but... see how effective that cavalry is. Probably won't be. As we can see, this is not necessarily a perfect position to be fighting them. They do have cover in this position. It's not quite as good as the previous one. Morale is beginning to waver. Let's see if we can drive that cavalry unit back. There goes the first batch of skirmishers running back to their parent unit. Is one thing cavalry is good at. It has a high rate of fire. There's also the short carbines too. That comes with the cost, of course. They've got terrible range, but speed up a little bit. Nope, that caveat goes routing. Speed down, so we do have the main body of the army coming in. I'm guessing you got back already? From that unit, it's the left side. That one. Yeah, the same thing that's going to be an issue for our artillery is the same for theirs, where this is not good terrain necessarily, except for shooting over the marshes or artillery fire. So this wouldn't have been too bad, firing that way down with the artillery, but then we would have been getting the artillery pretty exposed and forward. Okay, well, we think they're going to come down the road. Let's grab the cav and position them in preparation for deployment aggressively. Alright, I think it's time to call this one back anyway, so let's just call this one back. I guess we lose that position, but that's fine. It's not the best position in the world. Cavalry receives the order, carrying it out. Almost certainly be done by the time the enemy reaches the main line. Yeah, you can deplete your unit so aggressively doing this that you don't have combat-worthy units when the enemy gets to you, so depending on how you play, this is maybe not the best way to do this, but this reasonably works well on defensive engagements where you hold the objective. And again, I think we're still giving much better than we're getting. Turn. 1,500 casualties, just 300. Yeah, that's a decent combat ratio for a defensive position. Keep that up, we should win. Go, firing. They're firing. Reinforcements to arrive. Those ones are on their way back out again. You're not back yet. Let's check which one you're going to. You're going to that one. Okay. Reports of lower ammo coming in. Probably from the unit that's about to row anyway. No. Halt. It's not your task. Do not abandon your defensive position for an offensive location. See some indications that even though their supply station was outstanding at the beginning of the battle, they were starting to run low on ammo. Another batch of skirmishes out. Maybe we can just delay them over and over and over again. Eventually this will trick them down. Okay, they're on low ammo. Let's call them back. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to know where in a forest you're going to get cover, especially some of the lower density ones. This dimension's only going to hold so long. Going back to that unit, you're presumably going back to that one? Yeah. Once we have the right flank in that position, I'll probably order this unit to withdraw, even if the unit hasn't routed by then. And it might not. Definitely giving better than we're taking. Push the battle, I think that started like 8 a.m. in the morning out to 4 p.m. in the afternoon before they even engaged the main line. Okay, I didn't get the skirmishers in the position where I wanted them, but close enough. And at this point, the Confederate main line has been fighting on and off for 8 hours. So they've got to be, as we can see from some of the basic scouting reports, some of them are just a little tired from all the fighting. Well, at any given time, the Confederates have only been fighting about like a 15th of our force. So most of our force is green and fresh. Shoot the rebels. Hold in that bay. At this rate, we'll probably end up fighting them to nighttime. It'll be a 2-day battle if they continue the attack. Speed. Probably turn it back down again when our infantry start, or our skirmishers start to waver a bit, but at the moment we can play a little bit higher speed here. Turn the speed down because they're starting to waver. We do want to keep the pressure up on them. Low ammo reports. That's medium low ammo. I usually don't worry too much on the skirmishers until they're like out of ammo. I wouldn't be surprised if the Confederates would draw overnight at this point. Actually on very low ammo. Probably about 5 rounds left. Yep, 5 rounds left. Volleys. 8 volleys. Another low ammo report coming from somewhere. Or another very low. 5 volleys on this guy. The cavalry rallied once more. Oh. Or is this a different detachment of cavalry? Might be a different detachment of cavalry. You're on low ammo. Time to call you home. One's routing anyway. You're on low ammo. Time to call you home. Probably out of all the units, the one to cover the retreat being that one has actually probably the most sense.
Keep the horses fed. It could be a long day.
Oh, end of day. Troops resupply, which is actually necessary because we've been shooting quite a bit. Troop deployment. We basically can't deploy the skirmishers farther forward anymore. Okay. So let's pull the skirmishers just back behind the line for the moment. We'll do a recall as soon as the day starts up proper.
No foraging. Stay ready.
Oh, I can actually do it even without the day started up proper. Okay. Reabsorb those units. Oh, I don't think we can do that one just because that one is actually broken. That's fair. It'll reabsorb as soon as we start the day, presumably. Nope. And we did break the cav, so it's withdrawing.
Sergeant, any word from the commander?
Do I want to send out skirmishers to delay them again? Honestly, if I send out much more skirmishers, we might actually just cause them to rout. Yeah, let's just order generalized deployment of skirmishers. Where's the commander? Here's the main commander. Order the entire army to deploy skirmishers. Well, that didn't work. Okay, first division. Please order your army to detach. Oh, apparently you have. Okay, here we go. That order took.
Keep the horses fed. It could be a long day. Quiet in the ranks. See that? Did you see?
Here we go. Properly deployed this time.
Anytime now. Waiting's the. We'll get through this, girl. You make sure that saber shines, boy. I'll smell the damn rebel. Sergeant, any word from the commander? Anytime now, men. Seeing them. Quiet in the ranks. Sergeant.
Oh, there's some Confederate commands arriving on their unit, presumably ordering the attack. We're beating them to the fight. That you broke fast. Just position pulled back. At this point, just pull them back. You're blocking the main line from firing. You just decided it was appropriate time to melee. Don't necessarily agree with that assessment, but that's what it did. We do have cannons out there somewhere, so if they break and run, it will be time for the cavalry to charge to go find the cannons. A little bit of fog rolled in. 8 p.m. on Norfolk morning. Fog rolls in. Well, that's great for what we want. Well, actually, technically this is light rain, I suppose. Light rain hinders the visibility only slightly while reducing the dust and lingering smoke. Okay. Is that our artillery firing? That is our artillery firing. Okay. That unit's lost a third of its men. Yeah, I think the enemy morale is about to break. Minus 18 versus 34 base morale average across the army, yeah. Whereas ours is strong and way outdoing our losses, so... Almon's brigade. And Branch's brigade routed before it even actually got engaged. Okay. Yeah, I think it is. I think it is time to engage the cavalry. there's any cannon arriving. The enemy is retreating, yeah, that's not surprising. Order the cavalry to go forth.
Anytime now.
That's one of the enemy artilleryans. Didn't even get to see them properly firing on our units. And there's something back here, and we don't even know what's back there. Yep, the Confederates are in general route. And our cavalry is going to have a field day here. It's for a little while. Got our cavalry trying to capture as many prisoners as possible before the battle ends. Looks like it's about to end, so I think we've got about what we're going to get. Does look like we captured an entire artillery brigade, or yeah, an entire artillery unit. Probably regimental size, to be fair, actually. No, these were brigade size. Okay, so they've finally caught up and got their artillery reform as well. And there we go. So there's the Battle of Norfolk. The Army of the Potomac here has lost only 968 men, most of them infantry. I've captured all the enemy guns, depleted 40% of the enemy cavalry, and about a quarter of the enemy infantry before the enemy has withdrawn from the field of battle here. Major victory for the Federate or the Union. Dropped the enemy's national morale by a little over 1 point, while all military expertise rises by a little over 1 as well. Due to battle honors, Major General Prince has become famous and an inspiration for his men. There we go. So, glorious victory at Norfolk. If you're watching on YouTube, this is where I'm going to put a part break in. This will be the end of this battle video. We're on Twitch. We're going to go ahead and return to what is the main campaign video recording. We're going to record at least another, like, 16-ish minutes. At least a couple minutes. Maybe less than that. Might do, like, more than 10. So we get an appropriate-sized campaign video. But I'm going to go ahead and put a part break in here. I'm going to take a moment to mute the mic, take my jacket off, and get a little hot. So, until the next part, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.